Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be going through kind of whether or not a Benchmade is worth purchasing in 2024. Continuing along with the theme of my most recent video, is it worth buying a Spyderco in 2024? And I absolutely said buy a Spyderco on sale if you can get your hands on one. Their quality control is amazing. Go check out that video if you haven't watched it yet and you're kind of on the fence of what brand to start buying this year. But let's get into it with Benchmade. A lot of people in recent months and years have gotten super frustrated with Benchmade jacking up their pricing, the lack of quality control that's going into their products, and other things with the company that just have really frustrated people. And I'm gonna try not to be super harsh on Benchmade here. The one positive thing that I will say, and that I always say with Benchmade, is their vast array of designs. I absolutely love their knife designs, just how they look. Like if my shootout was working, which we'll talk about in a minute, the shootout is a really cool looking knife. The Adamas series is one of my favorite design knives. I think they look awesome. Just the green and FDE blade and the look of it is awesome. I love the Osborne. The Osborne G10 was my first ever Benchmade, and it's a great knife, super smooth. Just fun to use, but that is really one positive thing about Benchmade. They have all kinds of knives for all kinds of people. They just released their water line, they have their hunt series, they have all this kind of stuff. So pretty much whatever you're looking for, they likely have a knife for you. Except if you want a cheap knife. So that's where we'll lead into the next segment here, is their pricing that is absolutely wildly ridiculous and out of control. I don't even know where to begin with this. So I want to say it was about a year ago, so maybe a little more than a year ago, in July, in Blade Show, they released the Narrows, the Benchmade Narrows, and it's a very thin knife, very similar to the Bug Out. Titanium handles and M390 steel. So Microtech has, for context, Microtech has M390 blade. This Spyderco Native Chief, I think it's like a Sprint Run or whatever, has an M390 blade. So it's a very high quality steel, titanium handles. So that's a really high quality knife. That's like, similar to Chris Reeve knives, which if you don't know Chris Reeve, that's like a super high end knife brand. They make really expensive knives that are in that probably, I think, like $400 to $600 price range. I'm sure there's some that are way more than that, but that's their flagship models are around that price, so $400 to $600. And those are extremely high quality knives that have a lot of work put into them. Benchmade is trying to retail the Narrows for, I think it's $522 at the MAP. So that's not even like Benchmade's price, that's the retailer price. So the MSRP is probably like $600. I don't know off the top of my head exactly what it is, but $522 for a decent knife. But people were posting videos with reviews of it, and they were having all kinds of problems with them. And like the grinds were off. It was not, if you're paying $522 for a knife, it should be absolutely perfect. And so that was, at least in my memory, that was when I really began to notice like the mob of people that were just after Benchmade for their pricing. And yeah, their pricing is pretty ridiculous. Now, they do have a great warranty. They have the Life Sharp warranty, which is like where any knife that you buy from them, for the lifetime of the knife, you can send it in and they'll sharpen it for free. They'll fix it up. They'll fix anything free of charge to you and ship it right back to you. Now, that sounds awesome. Like when I was first getting into knives, I was like, oh my gosh, like they'll do all that for free. Like you just mail it in. And so you never really have to get another knife. That's perfect. But you find out very quickly that, like Spyderco, for example, I know I keep talking about Spyderco, but Spyderco will also, if you have any problem with their knife, you just send it in and they'll fix it. Kershaw, which is considered to be typically like a cheaper, more budget knife brand, I had a knife break and you don't even have to send it in, they'll just send you the parts, which is fantastic. Microtech, anything breaks, they'll fix it for free. I don't know what else I have around here. Case, another American knife company. Anything breaks, they'll fix it for free. So what you're really paying for is the Benchmade Sharpening, Life Sharp. Now, if you're like me and you live on the other side of the country from Oregon where you have to mail it to, you have to pay like $15 in shipping and wait a couple weeks to get your knife back. So instead of learning, you can just learn how to sharpen the knives yourself and not have to deal with that. because every other company will fix up your knife for you. So their pricing is really like, you can argue that the warranty and all that is baked into the pricing, but if every other company has a similar warranty, then why, what is the real justification for this price? So that's where people are getting really worked up. And yeah, it's really frustrating to, see prices be absolutely wildly out of control. This is just a basic Griptilian plastic handles. It's like $144 now. Bug out plastic handles, $160 to $170. It's plastic handles. That's not to say it's not a well-made knife. It is a very well-made knife, but it's not a $160 knife. I mean, that's just crazy. So there's that whole aspect of Benchmade. The other huge aspect is the lack of quality control that has gone into their products over the past several months and years. There's been a noticeable decline. Now, I'm going to use the shootout as an example because it's actively broken. I still haven't sent it in to get fixed, but I had this for like 5 or 6 months, barely used it, barely touched it, and an internal component just broke on me. And it's not like it was a spring or anything, like the actual metal piece inside it that's kind of shooting the blade out and moving along on the inside here just broke. And to pay, I didn't pay actually what the full retail is, like $300 or whatever for this. I got it for like $200. But if I were to have paid $300 for it, and still I paid $200 for it, and it just broke without me ever even actually using the knife, like that's ridiculous. That should not be happening. It has not happened to me with any other out the front knife that I've had, that just up and breaks. So that's extremely, extremely frustrating that I haven't really even had a chance to like use it before it breaks. I also have had, let me get out these through here. Don't know where I put the, there we go. I've had springs break in all 3 of these. The Omega springs in here are very, very, very fragile. And at one point, at least upon me reading, I never had a Benchmade, allegedly when this was the case, the Omega springs would last you forever. Like people will say, oh yeah, I've had mine for 10 years, I've never broken a spring. I, again, had barely at the time used these when the spring broke, and it just up and breaks without even really using the knife. So that's incredibly frustrating when you're paying these inflated prices for a knife that's not even gonna last through some use, or in this case, hardly any use. It's really, really, really frustrating, especially when that doesn't happen with any other brand. Like you're never gonna have I don't wanna say never, but it's probably extremely unlikely that you ever have a compression lock break or whatever. Even other crossbar locks, the ram lock, that coil spring, that giant coil spring in there would have to break. The ball bearing lock, crossbar lock, this would have to break. Iridium, which is I just got the new like Kershaw crossbar lock. Like even if it breaks, they'll send you the spring, so you don't have to mail the whole knife in and pay the shipping. So that's really, really frustrating. And again, Benchmade's break, and that's fine. All knives will break. And people will say, yeah, the warranty will take care of you. You just send it in and they'll fix it, which, yeah, I totally acknowledge that. Like if I'm going to send the shootout in, they're going to fix it. No questions asked. It'll be fine. But to have to actually take advantage of the warranty when I don't have to really in any other brands is really, really, really frustrating. I wish I shouldn't have to be paying all these really, really inflated prices expecting to use the warranty. Like the warranty should be a last resort backup, that if a freak thing happens to a knife that's just not made properly, then you send it in for warranty and they'll make it right. This is almost like they expect the knives to break because of these springs in here. And so it's not really like a backup. It's just part of the having a Benchmade is you have to send it in for warranty. So it's really, really, really frustrating to deal with. Especially, again, I go back to the pricing. I go back to the bad grinds in these, the broken springs, the poor sharpening jobs when you do send it in. It's just it's kind of a whole mess. That being said, Benchmades, like I mentioned with Spyderco, Benchmades will typically go on sale at different points throughout the year. It's less frequent than Spyderco, but they will go on sale from time to time. I know Black Friday is the big deal where I got a few last year. I don't know if they did any for the 4th of July this year. I don't think they did. I haven't really been following it, to be honest with you, as much as other brands, just because I've been so so frustrated with them recently. But we'll kind of tie it all back to the beginning. Is a Benchmade worth purchasing in 2024? I don't think so. I'm just going to be honest. I love Benchmade. I love their designs. Again, I'm not affiliated with them anyway. I'm not sponsored with them anyway. So I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's worth purchasing a Benchmade in 2024 until they can stabilize their pricing or ensure that they have maintained their quality control and really show customers that that is what's going on. It's not worth spending these crazy amounts of money on a knife that is probably going to break shortly thereafter. Now, that being said, looking forward to the future, I'm really excited to see that they released a new 710 with the flat spring. So instead of it being like a tiny normal looking spring in there, it's more of a flat piece of metal in an omega shape that will bend. So that's supposed to make it extremely durable. It's supposed to help out with the longevity of the spring life. Hopefully they can integrate that into some different designs, and going forward it'll be a lot better, but who knows. They just released, I think it was like, I don't want to say it was yesterday, but it was earlier this week at some point, the PSK, or personal survival knife or something, personal survival kit. And it's G10 and MagnaCut, and it's like $400, which is absurd. I got a Kershaw out the front, aluminum handles and MagnaCut steel for $200, and it's a really high quality knife, made in America. It's great. So why would I be paying that much for a knife that has materials that are nowhere near the cost of $400? So hopefully going forward they can fix this. They can move their pricing back to somewhere near the market level and really up the quality control and figure out the omega springs. And if they figure out all that, then yeah, absolutely. Benchmade is a fantastic company. They have great designs, like I mentioned before. Clearly I have a lot of them, so they can't be that bad, right? But right now I think it's time to let them figure out some of their problems and look to other brands that aren't price gouging and that are actually focused on ensuring that you're getting the best value for what you pay. So that's kind of my spiel towards Benchmade. I'm sure there will be a ton of people that disagree with me and say either one, Benchmade is fantastic, like I can't believe you'd think all that, and I've had nothing but a great experience, or that I did not bash them hard enough. So I'm sure there'll be both ends of the spectrum. But whatever your opinion is on the whole situation with Benchmade right now, please just feel free to let me know. I'm happy to listen, and I like hearing what other people have to say about it. Maybe some people have different takes than I do on certain things, but at this point, it seems a bit ridiculous that the pricing is this high and the quality control is as low as it is. So, just my opinion. That's one man's opinion. Let me know what yours is in the comments. Thank you to having watched this far. Thank you to those of you who subscribed. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers already. It's crazy to believe that. Check out the Is a Spyderco Worth It in 2024 video. I just released that one as well. And again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support. Let me know what else you'd like to see, and let me know what you think of Benchmade in the comments. Thank you.